on FTX. But of course, people bought this token, and the idea was that as the FTX network grew, then the tokens themselves would be more valuable. And I think FTX was supposed to use a percentage of its profits, maybe 20%, I'm not sure exactly, and they were going to burn tokens. So the more money FTX would make, they would actually take tokens out of circulation. But in the meantime, I don't know if there was a limit to how many tokens they could put into circulation. So they literally could write their own checks that nobody was cashing and then pretend they had real money. But then worse, they were borrowing against that fake money and they were levering it up. They were saying, hey, we've got this collateral, which basically is our own tokens, our own IOUs. And they were able to borrow money against that. And of course, when the value of that token imploded, which is exactly what happened, there goes all the collateral for those loans. If you look at the high price of the FTT token last year, it was up at $73.50 at its peak. As I'm recording this podcast on Thursday evening, the tokens are trading at about $1.50. And so that's a 98% decline. But the real value of these tokens is zero. Why are they not at zero? The whole thing was a fraud. At this point, it's now a meme coin because getting a discount on FTX trading is meaningless. There is no more FTX trading. Your money is frozen. You're going to be lucky if you get any of your money back if you had an account at FTX. So there's no value in these tokens to the extent that they ever had any value. There's no reason to even believe they have value, yet people are still paying for them. I'm not sure what the market cap is at $1.50. It's several $100 million. But why are these tokens worth several $100 million? They're not worth anything. But again, none of these tokens are worth anything. I guess now it's a meme token, just like Dogecoin or Shiba Inu or some of these other ones. I guess it's exciting to own the token of a bankrupt company, a company that may in fact be the biggest Ponzi scheme in US history, the way it was run. This is a bigger fraud than Madoff. I think it's a bigger fraud than Theranos. The most amazing thing, though, is how many supposedly sophisticated people fell for his con, because that's really what it was. He was a con man. His whole persona was an act. The idea that he was this compassionate billionaire who was giving away all of his money and spent none of it on himself. Everybody wanted to be around this guy. Everybody wanted to invest with this guy, and he was conning them. Nobody bothered to look beneath the surface of this facade. Because if anybody did, they would have seen immediately all these red flags.
Good morning, T-Speaker 222 XRB Future Millionaire with the side bet on XLM and Future Digibyte OG. So it's Saturday, November 19th, 2022 at 8:42 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What a way to start the morning. We got snow outside. It's 24 degrees. It's very cold. About to go to the farmer's market in a little bit. Got old Vincenzo coming over today to watch Michigan versus Illinois win this game. Wrap it up undefeated until next week down at Ohio State, at the Buckeyes themselves. Hopefully we'll get a matchup of two 11-0 teams next week. We got to do our part. Ohio State's got to do their part, and then we can kick the shit out of them next week, which may be wishful thinking, seeing that we haven't won down in Columbus since I was just out of high school back in the early 2000s. I think it was 04. It's embarrassing. So anyhow, XRP sitting at 3792, down 0.84%. Yes, I understand we're on a bear flag. Yes, I understand we should break down eventually in this pattern. Yes, I know. But until we break back down inside of said bear flag, I still think 427 can happen. And the farther we come across this pattern, it's actually could be closer to 43 cents. But I still like that 427. As long as this plays out as a bull flag. And this morning, I like to look across the market sometimes when I wake up. And the first thing I did, believe it or not, is I went down to Zillow. You can see ZIL pulled up off the 20-day. Yes, it looks slightly different than XRP, but there was a couple of them that did this exact same thing. Casper tried to pull up a little bit, but it's still under the 20-day. So when you're going around, you can't really use that. But there was one more, and it was Algo. IOTA's starting to now, but Algo yesterday had already showed us. But Algo had a farther way to come up because it had a bigger drop than most. IOTA is pushing up just like ZIL, and I keep saying overdue here. And it's overdue for a retest over here and then a drop. That's the overdue. This is overdue for a bigger drop once it breaks out of this area. So now it looks like ZIL 2350. So you're getting a little sneak peek at some of these. So IOTA, not ZIL, sorry. IOTA, which is an ISO coin, is what you can pay attention to as well. And then we'll go back to XRP. But I wanted to bring IOTA in this morning because it is overdue. It did retest here. It didn't break down all the way. Now it looks like it wants to bottom out. Back test it. If we get a double tap here, and this ends up becoming like a topping reversal here on the bear flag, and then you start to get like this Batman top, because you've already got the drop down, break up, down, back around. Now if you get rejected here, you start to get this Batman looking top on a bearish continuation, and it's a big drop. It's a big drop for it's down to about 15-16 cents for IOTA if it were to break down. So I always like to sneak some stuff in there. So that's IOTA. Fuck it, Algo. Algo's within. It broke out of this symmetrical triangle, you could say. It's slightly inverted, but this is a symmetrical triangle to me. But it could actually be a misdiagnosis, sorry, it's early, of the pattern, and I could be looking at it all wrong. You could actually say maybe it's looking something like that after it gave us an expanded pattern. It didn't give us the expanded look until the drop down on the bear flag and the big drop. So that's what I'm looking at here. I would say a resistance point here around 32.76, but it's already done a lot more than a lot of the other patterns. So that's Algo and IOTA, and now XRP. Like we've been talking about, XRP is on top of this bear flag, and that's the initial standing of this pattern. That was the initial pattern. So when people are like, well, how did you come up with this? This is how it was, and then it finally broke through. And now, unless we have a breakdown underneath this 3644, which is making it a very wide pattern, because it was down at 372 as the support. But now that we've come all the way over here, we technically could have a drop to 3643 and still maintain bullishness. But that's an awfully wide W, and it's held this area of support for so long, and it looks to be on a mini bull flag. That's why I keep saying that 472 looks like it could be a possible target here. I mean, until we break down, I'm not a bullshitter. So until we break down, the likelihood is we have to break up. Unless this pattern breaks down back into the bear flag, and let's just say we did bounce off of here, it brings us perfectly up to here. And yes, it might not be the 372. The 427, but it's pretty darn close, especially if you use it in here. It's the 4.3 level. Now, if it were to bounce down here and have to use that again, then it would be at the 427 perfectly. So is there a chance we could come back down there? Anything's possible. I'm just telling you right now. Pay attention to this. If we hold this downtrending support at 3666, at worst, this is still a bullish pattern. We need to break back down below the, we'll say 366 now. But if we stay up here, we get supported by the 20-day and the 4-hour like we're seeing. 427 to 4316 are those top points. If we break this down from the 30-minute out, started to have a little bit of a cross back down, a bearish cross here in the 20-minute or in the 30-minute, but it's waiting for the wider pattern to pick up. Here's where it's a big problem. So in the 4-hour, it looks bullish, but in the weekly, XRP, just as bullish as it looks very bearish. We still need the 50 and the 100 to cross through the 200. That's where it scares me. But it still can come up here again before it breaks all the way down. But you see how bad this looks in the weekly. So I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Make sure to what I'm saying, or pay attention to what I'm saying. And if you want, look at my previous content. Look, I even did that update out in the snow yesterday. My voice was gone yesterday. If you're wondering why I didn't do my class or my update last night, I could not talk. It would have come out all raspy. So I figured I would give my voice a rest. Join me on MEXC. Buy XRP. No VPN, no spot fees, no KYC. A lot of people are sleeping on it. It's got 200x trading, leverage, and you don't even need to verify. I've been on there for a little while now. Hope to see you guys over there. BitGet is where I trade the most still because I have my trading funds that I have to play through from winning the $800 trading competition. I have $316 left that they won't let me take out of my $1,342. So I played through quite a bit of it. And then also join me on UPHOLD. It's my most trusted. The spot fees are high though. But that's where I have my liquid cash that I'm going to buy my spot. And then join Tom's Army. $9.99 a month. Show me that support. I would love to see you in the Telegram. Come on, look at this guy. He's sitting out in the snow. He deserves a little bit of support. Freezing his ass off, but he's here every single day for you. Hashtag the FUD stops here. Period.